Hello and welcome to this videocast titled Introduction to the Regions Document-Based Question. In this video, we're going to take a look at what is a DBQ essay, what's the difference between the two region-style essays, a DBQ and a thematic, and sample regions DBQ essays we'll take a look at, and also we're going to look at the rubric for the DBQ so that you can know what you need to do in order to do well, and also how you can improve. So first of all, what is a DBQ? Well, a DBQ and the DBQ itself, the DBQ stands for Document-Based Question. And a document-based question, or a DBQ, is in fact an essay question. But this essay question is a little different than other essay questions because the DBQ uses two types of evidence. It uses evidence from both inside the given documents and also evidence from outside the given documents. So you might be asking yourself, well, what's the difference between a thematic essay and a Regions DBQ essay? Well, just to reiterate it for you, they have a lot of things in common. First of all, the thematic essay and the DBQ essay both want you to write a well-written essay. And that means that you have to include a proper introduction with a thesis statement, a proper body paragraph structure in the essay, and also a proper conclusion in the essay. That's important for both of them. Also for both of them, you have to answer the whole question. All parts of the question you must answer. And the difference really is between the two that for the thematic you have to use sufficient evidence, but for the DBQ you have to use sufficient evidence, but that means evidence from both inside and outside the given documents, not just in one place. Let's look at the two major components of the DBQ. It has two parts. The first part is called Part A, and it is short answer questions. And the second part is Part B, and that is the essay part of the question. All right, let's take a look at the sample that I was going to show you of the Part A, and this is from the June 2010 Regions. If you look over here to the top, it shows you Part A, short answer questions, says it right there, and then highlighted in red are the directions. And they say analyze the documents and answer the short answer questions that follow each document in the space provided. If you move down, you see your first document, Document 1. And it's a document that you should first take a look at the source, and the source is Robin Hallett, Africa to 1875, A Modern History, and it's from the University of Michigan Press in 1970. And then the document says, the aridity of the North African steppe turns to desolation in the Sahara, the most extensive desert in the world. In popular imagination, the Sahara is seen as a wilderness of sand dunes, yet it is a region of most varied landscapes, ranging from the great massifs or highlands of the Ahaggar and the Tibesti, with their extraordinary rock formations and their lofty volcanic peaks, to the vast stretches of gravelly plains or broad belts of constantly shifting dunes. The desert is not completely waterless. In certain parts, particularly on the northern fringes, excellent supplies of subterranean water support the rich culture of the oases. Nor is it completely bereft of or without vegetation. Men have thus found it possible to gain a livelihood in the Sahara, whether as cultivators of the oases or pastoralists or herders in other areas. Looking down, after that, it shows us the question. It says 1. What is one feature of the Sahara Desert according to Robin Hallett? And then if you might notice, right after the question, there's this little 1 inside of brackets. This number is telling you how much this question is worth. So this question is worth 1 point. After you see the question, you've got these two blank lines. This is the answer space for you to write the question answer that you have on the space there that is provided. Now if we take a look at this question one more time, we see there are some possible answers, and I highlighted some. These are some things that you could take directly from the document that would be correct. Of course, you only need one of them because that's the question, what is one feature? But there are many features here. Just something to be careful about. If you had not read the document and you looked at the question and said, what is one feature of the Sahara, and you wrote that there is no water, you would be wrong. If you wrote that it is entirely sand, you would be wrong. And that is because the point of this document is to show you that there is a variety of different types of geographic features and factors that exist in the desert, even though it is a dry desert for the most part. Okay, so you would write your answer on the line there. You could also put your answer in your own words and not necessarily take exactly from the document. If you do take exactly from the document, you should quote it, but you can also put it in your own words, something that is one feature of the Sahara. Let me remind you something here. Let's take a look at 3 things you have to do for short answer questions. These are 3 musts for short answers. You must use the space provided, answer the question completely. This is a good phrase for you to memorize. Using the space provided, answer the question completely, because it shows you all 3 of the things you must do for short answers. You must use the space provided. That means the lines they give you. Do not make your own lines with a ruler or with your hand. Do not write up the side of the page. Do not write along the bottom of the page. Do not write along the top. Do not put stars and then put answers in other places. All you need to do is use the space provided. So that means that you have to write on the lines that you have been given. So think before you write. The second thing you have to do is you have to answer the question. If it says 1 feature, only put 1. If it says 3 effects, make sure you have 3 effects that are different 3 effects. And the third thing you have to do for short answers is you have to completely answer it. And that means in a complete sentence. So if it says to give 3 effects, do not list 3 effects. You must write them in a complete sentence. So you have to write a complete sentence that answers the question on the lines that you have been given. And if you forget what you have to do, just memorize this sentence. Using the space provided, answer the question completely. That's all you have to do. Let's look at Part B. Part B is the essay part. Now, highlighted here in red are the directions for the essay part. And it says, write a well-organized essay that includes an introduction, several paragraphs, and a conclusion. Use evidence from at least 4 documents in your essay. Support your response with relevant facts, examples, and details, and include additional outside information. There it tells you how many documents you need. You needed to use at least 4. In the video cast today, I only showed you 1 document. But this document-based question, I think, had 9 total documents. So you had to use a good portion of all of them, and you had to use at least 4. At least. You could use more, but you had to use 4. Okay, moving on. Every DBQ essay has a historical context. It's here in red. The historical context says throughout history, geographic factors such as deserts, monsoons, and cold climates have had a variety of effects on different regions. Every question will have tasks for you to do. Highlighted in red are the tasks. It says, using the information from the documents and your knowledge of global history, write an essay in which you, okay, and here it is in bold, in the bold box here so you don't miss it. Select 2 geographic factors mentioned in the historical context, and for each, describe the geographic factor. Discuss the effects this geographic factor has had on a specific region or regions. And if you look up here, there are 3 geographic features given in the historical context. Deserts, monsoons, cold climates. And it tells you have to use 2 of them, and for each of those 2, you have to describe and discuss what it says. Every DBQ essay will have guidelines at the bottom. And the guidelines here say, in your essay, be sure to develop all aspects of the task. Incorporate information from at least 4 documents. It is telling you that twice. Every essay tells you in the guidelines at the bottom and in the directions at the top how many documents you need to use in order to have the minimum amount. So please look and don't ask me because it's always going to be there. Okay, after that it says incorporate relevant outside information, support the theme with relevant facts, examples, and details, and use a logical and clear plan of organization, including an introduction and a conclusion that are beyond every statement of the theme. So that's an example of what the question will look like DBQ every time with those major parts: historical context, task, guidelines. Let's take a quick look at the DBQ rubric. This is available on the website. It's also given out to you in class. This is the Regents DBQ rubric for the 9th grade. The scores are for the 9th grade, but the rubric's the same for all the years. It really just has 3 major categories. They run horizontal here across the top, then this one in the middle, and then the one at the bottom. I know there's a lot of writing here, and you don't have to read it right now. I'm sure you can't because it's probably too small or too blurry or something, and it doesn't matter. But I'm just going to show you the 3 major sections and what they mean close up. The first section is criteria, which is the criteria section is meaning, thesis, and unity. The second criteria section is development, and the third criteria section is style, sentences, and conventions. They are different sizes, and this was done by me on purpose because the bigger the size, the more it's worth in the rubric. So the meaning, thesis, and unity part is worth 30%. The development part is worth 50%, and the style, sentences, and conventions part is worth 20%. And something interesting about this last category here, style, sentences, and conventions, and that is that this is just general writing rules, things that you should always do when you are writing anything. And because of that, this section is exactly the same section as the English department. So you're going to find very little differences in those parts of the rubric with your English rubrics and with your social studies rubrics, because writing is the same no matter who you are writing for. Okay? And the only thing that changes is what you're writing about, and that would be meaning, thesis, unity, and development. And you'll be writing about history here, obviously. So I'm not going to go into the particulars of different parts of the rubric right now. There are other webcasts that are available on the website that you can check out. And those webcasts go into more specific parts about the rubric and how to improve depending on how you're doing so far and what you can work on to make your essay writing better and stronger. So what might be next for you is to watch other video casts, especially the ones about writing. And also, you could also ask me questions either in class, or you can email me, or you can get in touch with me any way that you're allowed to get in touch with me, or ask me to meet with you personally so we could go over your essays. But thank you for watching, and that's all for now.